When the devil came, he was not red. He was chrome, and he said, come with me. Come with me. You must go. So I went.
Welcome to the 109th Minute Podcast. Now the second episode with our new theme song. We do have a special guest tonight, the writer of that song. I think it's a little bit of a co-writing credit. Maybe we'll get some clarity on that from our guest. So to kick it off, let's first bring on podcaster and producer John Cross. John, what's up?
I'm doing well, Andrew. How are you doing tonight?
Just great. You know, before we got on, I think I had mentioned that I had because I do have a job, unfortunately, and I had to get up at 3:30 in the morning to interview somebody that was on the other side of the planet in Hong Kong, and yeah, let's just say that it's not fun getting up then or going through the day after waking up at that time. So we are running on fumes over here at the 109th Minute Podcast. But luckily, like the footprints in the sand, when there were only one set of prints, it was John Cross. And, well, I guess our guest, Paul, you want to bring him on?
Yeah, sorry, 1 second. My mouse slipped. Let me get him on here. There we go.
Gentlemen.
Paul, I don't know how to pronounce your last name correctly, so I just called you Paul.
That's okay. It's Taupier.
Taupier. Oh, that's much better than what I was going to say.
You know, Cartier, Perrier, all that stuff. So, you know what's weird, Andrew, is that I think your middle. I saw on the social somewhere you had your full name, and you're Andrew Paul, right?
Yes, yeah.
I'm Paul Andrew. So.
Oh man, this changes everything.
It's kind of weird, huh?
Kinship with you right now. We can talk offline, but
yeah,
that's awesome. So let's just get started with the elephant in the room, the song in my head, the sound in my ears, our new theme music. What's up with that?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I recorded it, but it was at the suggestion of our super talented art director, Travis, and Travis Peterson. And he suggested the song. It's a song by Wilco, so it's a cover. I didn't write the song. I changed one word of the lyrics at the very end. I changed me to us. So it's kind of a call to action to the locals, past locals that are hopefully going to be locals again in the future, and future new locals to join us at Snapdragon as we support SDFC going forward. And I think the words are really interesting. When Travis first proposed that I do the song as a punk version, I read the lyrics and I thought maybe they were a little bit kind of taking the piss out of the new organization. And I had two feelings about that. One was like, I mean, should we be doing that right now when we're trying to be, building the new thing and show enthusiasm for what we're building? And then I thought, hell yeah, because that's very a locals proper supporters group thing to do, is to take the piss. And I think it's actually take the piss should be our default personally as we go forward, because it's fun. It's a way to take, show what we're about and what we believe in. And we know that there will be plenty of opportunities to do that. And taking the piss is, a tried and true English tradition that runs through our sport and through our supporter culture.
Well,
and
we don't want to alienate.
It's a lot of fun.
The Scotsman among us, so let's.
Well, the Scots take the piss as well, so I should just say all. Yeah.
No offense to the English, but
So I think John put together a
there's
lyric
some history
sheet.
there. I don't know if there's a little bit of history there. I don't know if you're aware
Yeah.
of this.
Somewhat. I did not
like
mean
an
to trot
island,
upon that.
and there's some religious stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, sure,
I think
sure.
Mel Gibson is involved. I'm sorry, I interrupt. Go ahead.
Saw the movie. Yeah, know a little bit about history. I studied history in college, but mostly the history of Latin America. So, which ends up kind of going back largely.
You know,
to-
Mel Gibson is
yeah.
involved there too. I don't know. He made another
Yeah.
movie. I think
Yeah.
it was about the Maya, but yeah,
and I didn't see that one.
no,
yeah.
me neither.
I
Of
heard
course
it's really,
not.
really strange and good, and maybe I'll.
He's had
make
some issues, and I think
Yeah,
among a lot of us, maybe we don't indulge in his Hollywood
he's
products.
complicated. He's complicated.
He
Yeah.
contains multitudes.
Yes. Yeah. I wish he'd simplify sometimes, but yes, for sure. So Travis recommended this song, and after being with it a little bit, I thought this is genius. I love the lyrics. I got with an old friend of mine who has a cave recording studio in his garage with some really nice quality gear and gets good sounds there. And he agreed to do the drumming and play the bass, or bring his son in to play the bass. And I think he played the bass. My friend's name is Dirk Doucette. I think Dirk is currently in London. He flew off right after recording this to do his first trip to Europe ever. And he's going to be back, I think, in a couple of days. So he helped me get this thing together in about 3 quick sessions, and we got it recorded and mixed down. And that's the story of it. Song by Wilco, recommended by Travis Peterson, and then me, Paul Taupier, and Dirk Doucette did all of the sounds and recording.
So why this song and not like Heavy Metal Drummer? Also by Wilco.
I mean, you'd have to ask Travis. I kind of pinged him and asked him if he wanted to join me tonight, and he said he's got a proud tradition of not appearing on the pod. So we're going to have to.
This is
You know
true.
what? We should just put his
yeah.
picture up on the stream, and then he will be appearing on the pod, like kind of literally.
Yeah, we should do something, because I
Yeah.
don't think that's a tenable stance that he's taken, and
No,
we're going to
I
have
think
to
we
do
should- I
something
think
like
we should
abduct
put-
him and.
We could
prop
put
him
a
up.
watermark of his head in that intro section.
Yeah.
And then he will be
Yeah.
appearing on every pod
Yeah,
until
for sure.
until he actually comes on, and we can do that. That'll work.
Yeah, it's kind of a campaign that we should undertake, I believe. Yes.
Well, we don't have Travis, but we do have Travis's artwork along with the song. So why don't we play that now so people can hear the full song, read the lyrics on the screen as well for those who are watching the
Should I
video
sing
podcast.
along, or do you want me to stay quiet?
You can sing as loud as you want because your mic will be muted.
Okay. All right.
So it's just the way the video plays, the mics automatically mute on this. So we'll play it, and then we'll come back and we'll ask Paul a little bit more about the song. Here we go.
When the devil came, he was not red. He was chrome, 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 and he said, come with me. Come, come, come with me. You must go. So I went, where everything was clean, so precise and down
right. Well
There we
done.
go.
Very cool. I understand more now that I've done the karaoke version. You couldn't hear it, but I was on key and in tune behind the scenes.
Maybe you could redo the lyrics because I'm not really a lyricist and I just banged out the best I could there. So.
Oh, I made that up. I wasn't singing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Never mind that. So, but it's a fun song, and it's kind of like, it's kind of vacillates between, the devil is chrome is kind of like, some people can identify with those sentiments, especially early in their journey. Maybe hopefully they're feeling a little more positive about things now, but come with us, I felt like I belonged. It's really like turns out I guess hell is pretty benevolent.
I think it's apropos, and I think that Chrome Devil could be a new little mascot character for us. I'd really like
Yeah.
a Chrome Devil T-shirt now. I think that would be super
Oh,
cool.
hell yeah.
Yeah. That Chrome Devil will look real cool on the back of a vest as well. I think there's a lot of potential. A lot of potential here. Bum.
Yeah,
I like Bum. We all like Bum, but you know what? He's a little too goddamn cute. For some of us. Some of us have a rough edge. Some of us are a little more.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
with
yeah.
you.
It's a little too
Yeah.
cute for for my vibe. I want a little more aggression.
Yeah, we need to
Yeah, I
we
like
need
that
to
devil.
rough up our art director once a little bit about that or something. No, I think, and if you know the story of Bum, he was a badass too. He's a sweetheart, but he would wander into the saloons and get get very drunk drinking.
Don't fucking worry about it, man. We're good. We're all
No,
adults here. We're all
okay,
adults
good.
here.
He would get trashed drinking, whiskey at the saloon and then go get in a fight with the dog, and then he would turn up on people's porches and pose with the little children for paintings and photographs. So, but I like that Bum had an edge and he was kind of owned by no one, and he roamed the streets of San Diego and, schmoozed his way into the best steaks cuts from the butchers, and and just all kinds of great stories about that dog. So on that, I just want to say really quick that people who aren't familiar with the fact that Bum is an actual dog that existed, there's plenty of paintings and photographs of him and lots of journalism written about him. I can't remember the journalist's name right now, but he had a friend journalist who wrote about Bum constantly in the San Diego, I think it was the Tribune then, right?
Well, there was the Union, there was the Tribune, there was probably some other papers.
I want to say it was the Tribune back in the day. Anyway, this is late 1800s, 1880s, and into early 1890s. And he wrote about him constantly. And there were photographs, and there's all these amazing stories of that dog. One of which is that he rode in a carriage in a presidential parade when, I guess it was it Woodrow Wilson came to town. And maybe I have the Wilson wrong, but anyway, I have to double check that. I'm rusty on my Bum, but they gave him a carriage to ride along with the president in the parade. So, quite an amazing dog, quite a badass.
Only 2 carriages in the entire parade.
Right, that's
one
right.
for the president and one for Bum.
Absolutely.
This would have been after San Diego's appearance in Blood Meridian, right? I think that was a little bit before Bum. When
I don't know. We have to trust you on that one.
Okay, it's also dark and has a rough edge, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm all in favor of in more epic, legendary, edgy Bum for sure, so to speak.
So, so I feel like we are on a new frontier here with the show. We have a new song. We have maybe a newish kind of a character to mess around with, and we're plowing forward with it. Now we know the backstory, got the lyrics. This is like the foundation of what's to come, and you're exactly right about the lyrics having a part to play in our story, and as the story of the group continues, it just builds on that legacy, right? So, and it's not like everybody on this ride is happy to be on the ride, 100% of the time. The circumstances of our circumstance, we've beat it to death on this show, so I don't think we've got to rehash any of that. But anybody who I think is still not, ready to jump back into supporter culture, it's fine. And then when they decide they're ready, they're going to find the same supporter group that they've always had. So
Yeah, for sure.
this is all like part of giving people that kind of sense of like belonging, and we're all in it together.
We really are. I mean, and when this all started and we were mourning loss, and then we were excited about the future, or maybe we were conflicted, or maybe we were just completely destroyed. But in the times when I was most down, I just realized, the future is about us. It's about this community, and the community may shift or change or evolve, but it's going to be about us. It's not going to be about some FO or even the people in the FO, because they're going to change. And it's not going to be, managers of the team or players of the team. We've all heard this before, but it's absolutely true. It's about us. And it's going to be sometimes about kids and grandkids and carrying this on. So the fact that the locals have had some complicated feelings about things early on speaks positively to who the locals are and who its members are. And, if I can say so, we're not a bunch of damn happy clappers. We really care about the culture, the sport. We're all aware of the shortcomings of our system in our country. And I won't call out any particular player or organization in it at this time, but we're going forward, and we're going to do our thing, and that's going to be an intense, fun, exciting experience, and all rooted in us and our community. It's all about us.
Well said.
Well said. Yeah.
So I know that to kind of segue into our next topic, part of growing this community is the union and what we are going to be building with our brother and sister supporter groups. This is something that kind of has to happen with an MLS supporter section. There's precedent in every other club. And I think John has a little bit of information. Can you just update folks about where we are? And I think we've agreed to establish a framework, or there's conversation about the establishment of a framework. There's a meeting to plan a meeting. John, where are we at?
I think you actually said it very well. That's about where we are. We're in, I guess, agreements to have talks. Really, if you want to be official about it, but I'd say we're really further down the road than that. We are having serious, I would say, productive conversations among the leadership of the various SGs to try to establish a framework right now. I guess if you're thinking in terms of the United States, it's like getting ready for your constitutional convention kind of thing, like figuring out some of the basics. So I think everybody, my opinion, all the leadership of all the SGs, we're on board in principle with this idea. Everybody seems to get along well together. Everybody likes the independence and the culture each of the supporter groups bring. Everybody brings something a little unique to the larger group. So now it just feels it's time to sit down and have some more serious conversations about what that looks like as we move forward. So we'll see how things go this month, but if things go well, there may be some more formal news by the end of the month, but there may not either. It just kind of depends how some of the conversations go here. But I would say right now they're heading in a very strong, solid direction.
Excellent. So here's one of the conversations that we kind of had. Can you maybe talk a little bit about? There's a couple of different ways that unions are organized. These are kind of options. There's also kind of this question about like, what criteria do we, we have to establish a way for like new supporter groups to integrate into the union in the future, and then determine like, okay, is it the SG with the most members? Do they get more seats on the the high council or whatever the hell, do we go by a more senatorial framework where everybody gets equal representation, which has its own issues, I think, in fairness, which we kind of see in our own democracy. So can you talk a little bit about what options are on the table and what kind of things are need to be discussed in this process?
Well, I think, I mean, really right now, all options are still on the table. And these are some of the conversations. There is an argument to be made how a senatorial thing could be better in terms of everybody has equal standing and an equal vote if we're trying to look for, equality across the board. But likewise, there's an argument to be made for some proportional voting in terms of, let's just say one group has 2,000 people and there's 6 other groups that have 20. We don't know what the numbers are going to be in the end, and we don't know how that voting is eventually going to take shape in the final version of this. So I think all those things are on the table in terms of discussion, and we do need to establish what is a pathway for new supporter groups that want to come in and be part of the culture rather than just joining one of the existing 5 supporter groups that are out there. So those are things to we have to discuss and work out the details, and we're not to that stage yet. Right now we're at the stage of just trying to lay the framework of basically saying what we're talking about here. These are things we need to talk about and figure out the details. Are we in agreement that we need to sit around and figure out these details? And that's I would say where we are at the moment. We're in agreement that these are several issues that different supporter groups have brought up as we look towards the future and things we need to think about. Are we all willing over the next 9 months to work out these details? And that's kind of what the framework is setting up, kind of a roadmap for us to tackle those issues in a productive way moving forward, and not let them go too long, not have knee-jerk reactions to things. Try to plan ahead so we are prepared and well positioned to tackle issues that come up in maybe not the heat of the moment, right? We've taken some time to think about it ahead of time and come up with some solutions early. So that's where we are now.
I think the good news is that the locals and Chavos have a multi-year history of working together to create an energetic and inclusive supporter section environment full of its own kind of unique culture, chants, songs, drumming. We kind of already have it. We already know what we're doing, right? It's kind of just a matter of getting the other groups on board with what we already kind of know works. This is my personal opinion. Let me just say, this is not the opinion of the Locals Leadership Council. This is the opinion of podcast host. I'm right, but it is my own opinion.
I'm one member of the. I'm sorry, John. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I'd like to. I always, when I think about these things, try to be careful with my wording for some of them. But yes, Chavos and the locals have a strong working relationship. In fact, a lot of the people who are currently over at Riptides were in 109 as well. So even among those 3 groups, there's a strong connection of history among a lot of the people there.
All right, but only
And
two
then-
groups actually already existed and have already kind of done the thing and led the section
well-
and kind of have the experience and the the resume to be successful. Just saying,
We're going to work
I-
well with those guys too. They're already
we'd-
becoming friends and they're super into it, and it's all good.
I'm not
Yeah,
trying to.
in meeting-
Come on, man! I'm trying to. Let's go. Let's draw the battle lines. Come on, man.
We're all on the
This is why
same
you're not in
side.
the negotiations.
One big team. Yes, one big team. We do have a lot of very earnest, intelligent people. John is like you've emerged as our most excellent parliamentarian.
No, don't throw me in with that
idea.
bunch. Don't throw me in with that bunch. Okay?
I said John.
I'm just a bomb thrower, man.
You are a bomb thrower.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, because we did mention Riptides, but we left off the other two. I mean, 18th Battalion, they are new on the scene, but they're eager and energetic. All the people I've met, I think they're going to be a great addition to what we have going in the section. And frankly, the Dago boys bring a lot, like Chavos did, in terms of music and atmosphere of what's going on. And the drum circle we had last Friday Dago boys are the ones who organized this meeting every Friday under the trolley stop to do these drum circles. They had some good chants. I'm going to have to brush up on my Spanish a little more because there's some heavy Spanish chants, but they're good. They're good chants. And I'm excited. They got some good, energetic people. Again, another welcome addition to increasing the effect and the culture that we're going to have in the section.
So the hack there, John, let me tell you, I figured this out. The hack there is to become a drummer, because if you're drumming, you're not really expected to sing or chant because you're drumming. You can't really chant while you're drumming. I mean, some people can, Don Henley for one, but it's a rare skill. So if you just pick up a drum, I mean, you got to do some other things, but you don't have to, learn all these.
Phil Collins. I can't believe I'm doing a Phil Collins reference.
Yeah.
I hated Phil Collins back in the day.
There's good reason to hate Phil Collins. He's like, he's really enraptured with like the myth of the Alamo. Like this guy's like from England, another Englishman.
You mean literally about the Alamo? He is.
Oh yes. Oh gosh.
I didn't know that.
He is like one of the foremost collectors of Alamo and Texas Revolution memorabilia. So much so that it's academics think that much of his collection is actually fake because he's so rich, and you can just go to Phil Collins and be like, oh man, this is Davy Crockett's lighter, and like
he'll buy it.
He'll buy it from you. This is all alleged, right? He worked for a long time with like this civic group in San Antonio to try to get like his collection of artifacts placed into like an Alamo museum somewhere in Alamo Plaza in downtown San Antonio. Wow. And I think it's always fallen apart. And then
he wants it named the Phil Collins Memorial Alamo.
The thing is
Museum.
Like because the provenance of so much of his stuff is in doubt, like academics and like people are kind of like, well, maybe we're better off without all of without Davy Crockett's Coonskin.
Oh yeah, no Phil Collins. And sorry about that. How about Peter Criss, Kiss? He sung a few songs too.
Yeah,
while drumming. Of course, he wasn't like a really complete. Wasn't like Neil Peart of Rush or something. He didn't sing. Yeah, to your point. So,
being I think part of the key to the collection of how well we worked together in 109 were the drummers, because we had drummers from both groups. And they had to work together and they had to be in sync. And we had capos from both groups. And I think that music part of the supporter section is what helps pull all people together. And again, from last Friday's drum circle, that was evidence. We had good showing. If we could get a bigger showing this next Friday. So there's another drum circle coming up on Friday. What is that? The 15th. And it'll be at the trolley stop at Snapdragon Stadium. And as just a side note, for those of you who know, I do a side project called Soccer Shorts, and I will be doing some filming for the documentary I'm putting together about the supporter groups and putting this whole alliance together and all the way up through the first game. And I'm going to kind of call out the locals, I guess, a little bit. I have a lot of footage and a lot of things of Chavos and Riptides right now, but not a lot of the locals. So like to balance out some of my footage there, so we get some locals to show up on Friday to help out with some of the filming or be in the drum circles and chanting and participating for some of the filming there. That would be nice for locals to up their participation in this documentary a little bit.
Get out there, locals.
I wanted to go on Friday. It's weeknights are incredibly difficult for me, and but I think my son picked up a little bit of a injury, so good news. My weeknights have freed up at least for the next week or so. Not good news, but it's not serious. But so yeah, maybe I can get out there on Friday. But it is important to get out there. I'm not saying that it's not, but I do have a lot of grace and understanding for people who maybe are not, ready to jump out there in the early March, a year out from any games. It's not everybody are freaks and weirdos like we are. No offense to my fellow freaks and weirdos who are doing.
We really are a bunch of freaks and geeks. It's so true. But on game day, people are intense.
It is actually important, because the only way that the section works and sounds good on day one is that we rehearse and that people know lyrics and that drummers know the drum parts. You cannot just show up on game day and think you're going to be able to perform, because game day is a performance and you have to approach it that way. If you're in the supporter section, is that you're part of the show. Like it or not, that is part of what makes going to soccer matches so kind of unique and cool and special, is the supporter section. And it doesn't just happen. You have to prepare, and I think that's why we are in a good position, regardless of attendance issues at these early events, because so many of us have been there and done it in 109. That I think I'm very optimistic that match one, home match number one, is going to be really something something to see in that end of the stadium.
Hell yeah.
I'd like to pivot us just slightly from this before we close out the show. We did have a comment here about a group name, like for the bigger supporters group name. I know we were talking pre-show, Paul. You had an idea for a group name, because right now we have a generic name that we're using for lack. I want to make it absolutely clear, for lack of a better name, and because we don't have a name for the group yet. It's something we haven't really talked about. It's just the north end, because that's where we're going to be sitting.
Here's the thing, John. You've got to find a crappier placeholder, because if you don't, then the placeholder will just become the name.
It will stick. I know. Paul, I'm going to give you the stage here for a second, because we had talked about this pre-show about a name for the group, and I know other groups are thinking about this as well, and we need to kind of figure out what we're doing. So, Paul, I'm going to give you the stage and tell us what you were
I'll put
about as a possible name.
Is okay. So there used to be two Californias during the sort of Mexico-Spanish period, including after Spanish independence. There was, Mexico. There were two Californias during that late Mexican California period, and one was called Baja, which we still refer to as Baja California, and the other one was called Alta California. So being a border town and with a lot of border culture, much of which will feature very prominently in our supporters group activities and look and feel and songs, I put it out there that I like Alta, like we're Alta Supporters Union. So that's my vote. It has this cross-border meaning, historical meaning, and not just colonial Spanish meaning. It's also Mexican meaning as well. And I don't know. The league talks a lot about looking toward Mexico and Latin America integration, which itself is laden currently with the U.S. Open Cup controversies. So, however, I think Alta's a strong name for us, and I've put that out there and been kicking that around. And that name has some history in our recent soccer past as well, which maybe we'll talk about on another episode, perchance.
Yeah, sounds like a good topic for a later one. Andrew, do you have any names?
You know,
floating around?
I had one that I had liked previously, incorporating 109, like the 109ers or 109th something or another, but then we used it for the podcast, so I'm not as much hyped as having that as the union name. I think that the union name, it's super important we get it right, because that's going to be most likely what I think the team supporters are going to be known as. That's going to be our banner. That is going to be kind of, it's not going to be just locals and chavos. It's going to be under the banner of this umbrella group. And we got to get it right. And it can't be the North End. That is not, I mean, not that it's bad, but it's so safe and bland.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the SDFC of supporter
Yes,
union
it
names.
It's and it's descriptive in terms of trademark. I was a trademark guy, and in terms of distinctiveness, it's not distinctive because it's descriptive. It is the north end of the stadium, literally. So it's just purely descriptive. And like, I understand there are other north ends in the league as well.
Right, there are.
And so I agree with you.
And also, isn't the that insufferable support group from Michigan have the word North in their name? I don't want anything affiliating with those handful of Twitter trolls that call themselves a supporter group.
Yeah, we can do better.
Yeah, I agree completely. But one of the things you said, Andrew, reminded me of a question you posed earlier that I didn't quite answer, because you were talking about the name being kind of what we end up being identified as. And in terms of supporter group models, there are a couple of different models. There are models where that name, that overarching umbrella, really takes on the identity. And then there are other models where each independent supporter group that's part of that union or alliance really retains more of their identity, and the name is more for the section and that spot in the stadium. It is given a certain name, so that the individual supporter groups maintain more of their individual identity. And I would say I think it's safe to say in the current talks with most of the leadership from the other groups, that's the second one is the direction that people want to go. They want to retain that independence and their identity, that outside of match day, supporter groups do whatever it is they want to do. But for those, well, I was going to say 90 minutes, but it's beyond that. It's pre-match and the game and post-match. But on match day, when we're standing shoulder to shoulder together for 90 minutes, singing and chanting and drumming, and creating the atmosphere in the stadium, that's what we're talking about for the alliance. It's just, what is that part going to look like? And really,
I mean, that's the only part I care about, to be honest.
Supporter groups
That's what I'm all
to
about.
maintain their identity and get out in the community and still do their community work. And Andrew, I think you bring up a good point. Some people, that's all they care about is what happens in game in the stadium, and other people care a lot about the interactions with the community or the civic stuff that goes on, that broader extension of a supporter group. And it's important that we nail both of those, right? So whatever the name is. And And yeah, anybody who's listening to this, if you have a good idea for a name, submit it to someone in leadership so we can throw it out to the other SGs and talk about it. I don't think a name's going to come up in the next 7 days that everybody loves and we're just going to stick with.
As long as it's not like Star Wars themed, like not.
But if I am afraid, I'd even rather try out some names, because I'm afraid if this North End name we start using too much, it sticks over time.
Maybe
and
we
that's
need
always
to,
the problem.
Yeah. Then let's first come up, like Andrew suggested.
Yeah, something like MAGA forever, and then we'll definitely definitely won't stick with that one. You know, it's funny, like what you're talking about, John, like you know, maintaining individual identities and stuff. Like, I want this, and this is personally speaking, right? I want this umbrella name to be something that like I would want to like wear on a shirt. Like for me personally, I don't feel like I am just a member of Locals. Like, Locals is not the end all be all for my like supporter identity and affiliation. You know, my vest says Chavo's Drumline, right? Like, I'm happy to be a member of that group, and with the Fiends, even though they're an unofficial kind of group, you know, I am happy to kind of be amongst the entire, you know, union of these different groups. And I don't know. This is, again, me personally, right? Like, I want to kind of represent the entire like SDFC like supporter thing. Like, that's what I want to be proud of, and that's what I want to like present, you know, to the outside, like whether that be via a scarf, via t-shirts and stickers and stuff like that. Like, because I'm much more than just like a member of the Locals, you know, it's much bigger than that to me. Now, maintaining individual style choices, art, is super important, especially I think for groups like Chavos that have a very, very unique culture and flavor that like I would never want to like water down with some of our shit. Like, not that it's bad, but like it's just not, you know, you don't want to take anything away from anybody, but like yeah, for the unifying group, like it's got to be something cool. It's got to be something good, like Paul suggested, like Altas. I don't know what that's, maybe too close to ultras, but you know, something that really does speak to the uniqueness. You know, this is going to be the only major league team that is on the border. The next closest team, I think, is Houston, and Houston is not a border town. It is not even a particularly heavily, you know, Latino town. But that's the next closest one to the border. So I think it's really kind of on us to really, really represent this region, especially in this time and in this climate, with what we're seeing around the country and some of the rhetoric and some of the stuff that's going to be coming to light over the next year with this election and stuff. And, you know, we really have to get it right. And I feel like putting up a unified front, like the Latino community, Mexican American community, the people who are going to cross the border every week to come to these matches, you know, our relationship with Tijuana and with the border, you know, this is one community. San Diego and Tijuana is one community, and you know, we have a huge opportunity in this group to put that binational community on the stage of Major League Soccer in a way that it does not exist, and frankly doesn't quite exist in any, you know, football culture. You know, not to put any pressure on the decision makers, but like, it is a real opportunity. I think if we look at it like that opportunity,
Yeah.
and that's what we present to our the other groups. I think we'll find a lot of common cause along those lines.
That's what I like about Alta, or it could be an alternative, but it captures, or something else might really celebrate that. And it does two things. It celebrates this border town culture, and that you explain so well there. And it also focuses us on our, remember, some of the early talk from the new team organization was that they didn't understand a lot about San Diego yet. And, it avoids something proud, local, regional, and cross-border like that is so real, right? And so laden with great intensity and passion. And I think it will really unite us all here. And it also avoids the trouble of, like, we're not looking to Los Angeles exactly like we are. We want to beat them. We want to beat everybody. And of course, that's going to naturally be a thing. But we're not in the shadow of Los Angeles. We are our own border thing and region with our own strong identity and ties and history that transcends that stuff, in a pretty powerful way, I think. So
agreed.
I hope whatever name we come up with, it kind of captures that stuff.
Yeah, well, good. Thank you for the input. And again, for anybody who's listening, if you have ideas, please send them, because we'd like to even workshop some things here and get rid of that North End piece. So maybe we'll start hearing some different names coming out soon.
What's the name of the region? Is it Aztlan, the whole section of the U.S. that is like within so far the border, like the I can't remember what it is, but
I don't know.
Something that kind of I think represents that, because I get super frustrated, and I'm in like the media sphere, and the way that the border is presented in a lot of American media, it makes me sick. Like, it really does. Not just in conservative media, but places like the New York Times, they'll send a reporter, they'll parachute in, do some quick hit border story, and it just is all tropes and stereotypes, and kind of it just, I don't know. This is like my grinds my gears segment, so apologies to everybody, but
yeah,
I think that representing, when I talk to people all the time, I'm like, I look out my window and I can see the hills of Tijuana. Like, I live, just miles from the border, and like, is there an invasion that I'm like experiencing right now? No, like it's crazy, the kind of stuff that you see out there. And I think that that my vote is that aspect of our culture be like front and center in this umbrella group.
Yeah, that would be really cool for sure. My wife is from El Paso, Texas, and they're right on the border with Juarez, Mexico, and it's a lot of similarities there. And
right.
So double dose of all that stuff for me. And yeah, I'm with you on that, Andrew. Yeah. And John, yeah, I agree. We need a new name. We need a real one of some sort. Welcome to all comers. Good ideas.
We're not North. Nothing about us is North.
Right. I'm in North County, so.
But you're still like in Southern California.
Yes, that's absolutely.
So I know there was some other soccer going ons you wanted to hit on, John. We had, I think, some Gold Cup stuff happening. Did you go to that game?
I did not go to either of the games. As you know, I limit my outside activities right now. Did watch on television. I guess we could go into a lot of detail about both games, but the second game between the U.S. and Canada for the semifinals was just, it wasn't even soccer. It was very hard to watch. It was, will probably go down in history as a memorable game for a lot of reasons, especially the way Alyssa Nair came up at the end. But yeah, it was a frustrating game to watch, and just, it feels like we didn't get that much rain. Well, I don't know. I'm in North County, so I don't know how much rain.
Are you suggesting there might be
some
issues with the Snapdragon Stadium.
I might be suggesting there might be some issues with
infrastructure
the drainage at
insanity
Snapdragon.
going
Yes.
on there.
I
What
was
is that? There
disappointed to
was
see
no.
that.
There's no drainage there. Like there's no sub
I
turf
don't know.
drainage.
Well, what's that song from the 70s? It never rains in Southern California, right? So.
We don't need drainage.
And-
We don't need roof or coverage or canopies.
Right. Yeah.
Because we're
No, but
very
I
optimistic.
We're all going to be at night, you know.
Didn't go. I still have never attended a match at Snapdragon Stadium. I don't know when my first.
It's
one's
not
gonna
as
be. It
bad as
might
I
be
was
Opening
fearing.
match at 2025, and it's not because I've stayed away. It just hasn't worked out. I just haven't
Yeah.
made it to a match yet.
Yeah, I would recommend a day match in July.
Oh yes, I've heard about those.
Incredible
Yeah,
experience.
Yeah. Going to the Wave home opener. That'll be fun. You want to come along, John?
I might. Kind of
Let me
depends
know.
on
Let me
what my
know. If so-
schedule's like.
If so, I got a ticket for you, but you got to claim it pretty quick.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Let me check my calendar and I'll get back to you. Or
All
I'll
right.
get back to you probably after the show here.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So I want to start winding things down. John, is there something on our agenda that we didn't hit that we got to get out to folks? I know there are some events coming up that people need to know about.
Well, there's just, the next Chrome Ball Tour stop is going to be in Carlsbad. That's next weekend before we have a week break, a month break between Chrome Ball Tour stops. Because the one after Carlsbad is going to be the big one on May 4th down in Chula Vista.
Oh, gosh.
And then we have a leadership council meeting on Wednesday night of this week, which for us, as we're recording this is tomorrow night. The drum circle on Friday. I'd like to get as many people to come out to the drum circle on Friday and still keep your calendar open for Saturday, April 20th. It looks like we're going to do the new or the big all SG, whatever we're calling ourselves, bonfire on Fiesta Island on Saturday, April 20th.
Oh, 420, smoke
those
up.
are the big things.
You think there'll be
420, yeah.
Do you think there'll be
420,
some hot smoking at this event? Don't know about family.
Never. No.
Whatever, and which is a fully legal activity now. I'm going to brew beer. I'm going to bring about 5 gallons of homebrew.
Oh man!
Well, then I'm definitely going.
Something like an IPA with a Belgian yeast kind of thing, which I love Belgian yeast.
Like that old Stone beer that got discontinued.
Kind of like that, but my own thing.
Nice. I'm not even going to be here. I just realized I'm going to be in Austin, so fortunately, no 420 bonfire for me.
All right, save you a little bottle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We'll be back next week, as always. Next week we will have maybe some update on coming out of this meeting tomorrow. I don't know. I don't anticipate a whole lot of news, but we will continue to strive to keep you updated as to what is going on behind the scenes, both with the supporter group and with this union. And I think this union is really picking up steam. I think this is going to happen very quickly, and we're all very excited about it, and I hope you are too. So we'll keep you in the loop. Keep your eyes out for your inbox. You will be receiving our new, is it weekly or bi-weekly right now, John?
Bi-weekly. So you should have received the email last week, and then
okay. So no email this week. Sorry, I told them it should be weekly, but do they listen to me? No. So I thank this audience because you have to listen to me, but the leadership council doesn't. So bi-weekly for now. Fine. I'm not the one doing it, so I'm fine with it. Don't put it in the newspaper, then I'm mad. Okay, I'm mad.
just the podcast.
Next week, check your email. Be on the lookout for that, and come out to the drum circle if you can. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Good night.
Right.